Hey guys, KXF here, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be checking out the Tecware Phantom 87 mechanical gaming keyboard. Big thank you to Tecware for sending this to me for review purposes, and with that out of the way, let this review commence. Starting off with basic design, the Tecware Phantom 87 is a TKL or 10 keyless mechanical gaming keyboard. It uses a gunmetal alloy backplate with a base constructed in a matte black plastic. As you can see, it features a floating key design which allows for easier cleaning of the keyboard. There are no dedicated media keys present, but they can however be accessed by using the FN key. There are indicators for caps lock and gaming mode above the arrow keys, which are just two white LEDs. The cable that's on the keyboard is nice and braided and measures in at 1.8 meters long, however unfortunately it's not detachable. It does however feature a cable routing system on the underside of the keyboard, and speaking of the underside, it features 4 rubber pads that prevent the board from sliding around on your desk. It also has 2 rubberized flip out feet for angle adjustment. Another thing it features on the underside is a cutout for a keycap puller, since it does feature a little plastic one. As for other accessories, it includes a small metal switch puller and 4 extra Altimu switches because this keyboard is a hot swap board. More on this later. As for technical aspects, it has a 1000Hz polling rate or 1 millisecond response time, full NK rollover and anti-ghosting, 100% fully programmable keys, onboard 16.8 million color RGB lighting control, gaming mode, which disables keys such as Windows, as well as software support, which features macro recording in 3 different profiles, which aren't on board however. No USB pass-through port is present. The keycaps on the Phantom 87 are pretty basic, made out of ABS plastic with double shot molding. They feature a minimalistic rather than a gamery looking font, which is always appreciated. The secondary characters are illuminated, although the media functions aren't. The keycaps have a standard bottom row layout, which means that you can use other keycap sets, such as a pudding set. The stabilizers that are used are standard cherry plate mount stabilizers. These, however, aren't actually that rattly at all, which is good, but they still have the mushy feeling to them. I'll eventually mod the stabs by clipping and lubing them, since I can easily pop them out due to the board being hot swap, which segues into our next topic. The Tecware Phantom 87, like stated earlier, is a hot swap board, so in case one of the switches breaks, you can simply replace that broken switch instead of the entire keyboard. It comes in 3 different switch variants, Altimu Blue, Brown, and Red. The unit that I received features the Browns, which are tactile and quiet. They have an actuation force of 55 grams and an actuation point of 2.0 millimeters, as well as a switch lifespan of 50 million key presses. Now before y'all get super excited about the hot swap, it's only limited to Altimu switches. Others, such as Kale boxes or Gatorons, do not fit into the switch sockets due to the pins being too wide. In order for them to fit, you have to sand them down, which is 1, a lot of work, and 2, there's a risk of breaking the pins. But don't sweat, there are better Altimu switches out there, such as their Sky or Ice switches, that will fit in the Phantom 87 due to them also using Altimu pins, so you don't have to stick with the traditional lineup of blues, browns, and reds. Now I'll do a sound test for the Altimu brown switches. Moving on to software, you can mess with the RGB lighting effects, change up the polling rate, configure the 3 different profiles, as well as program macros. Overall, the software is pretty glitchy and will crash occasionally. At one point, it wouldn't even open up for me despite uninstalling and reinstalling it. I fixed it by sleeping on my PC and then turning it back on. From my perspective, if you don't need to program macros, then you don't need to install the software, since you can pretty much control the 18 RGB lighting effects on the keyboard itself, which I'll show you right now. Now let's talk about pricing for the Phantom 87. It comes in at only $46. Featuring hot swap switches, although limited to Altimu only, 16.8 million color RGB lighting, as well as a bunch of accessories like a keycap holder and extra switches, it's definitely a fair price in my opinion. Tecware could have easily charged more for this keyboard, and they didn't, which I really appreciate. As always, links in the description if you're interested in checking this keyboard out. Moving to pros and cons, as well as my final verdict. For pros, I really like the fact that the Phantom 87 is hot swap, which is probably one of the main selling points, albeit limited to Altimu switches only. I also enjoy the sleek design of the keyboard, super minimalistic and nothing gamery looking of the sort. The RGB lighting is quite vibrant and can be controlled on board, which is another pro in my opinion. It also comes in 3 different switch variants, which I think is great since different people like different types of switches and they can choose whether they want a clicky, tactile, or linear feel. Lastly, I appreciate the inclusion of accessories that came with the keyboard, like the keycap holder and extra switches, since not every keyboard from say major brands includes things like these, and it's nice to see that smaller companies are doing this for an extremely fair price. As for cons, first off is the software. It's just way too buggy and annoying to use. Another con that isn't a big deal but is somewhat of a bummer is the fact that the cable isn't detachable. A detachable cable would be very useful for on-the-go use, and while it's still usable, it's just something I would have liked to see. The last one is just a nitpick, but I also wish that the Phantom 87 were compatible with switches that aren't from Altimu. As I'm telling you, I'd love to be able to use some holy pandas on this. So to wrap it up in a nutshell, would I recommend the Tecware Phantom 87? The answer is a yes. With so many features like hot swap switches, RGB lighting, multiple switch options, and many more for under $50, the Tecware Phantom 87 really packs a good punch. All in all, it's a great keyboard at a great price. Anyway, that'll wrap it up for my review of the Tecware Phantom 87. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up to show your support, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell so you won't miss out on any of my future videos. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at KingXFOfficial, as well as join my Discord server where more giveaways will be happening in the future. I'm KingXF, and I'll see y'all next time.